Big Louie on somebody. Fresh in the game, putting it down. Everybody jump, make the club get crunk. If you want the south side, represent, throw it up. Everybody jump, make the club get crunk. If you want the north side, represent, throw it up. Everybody jump, make the club get crunk. If you on the west side, represent, throw it up. Everybody jump, make the club get crunk. If you on the east side, represent, throw it up. I'm throwing up my set in this.
What's up, YouTube? I'm not going to go any big news stories. There's nothing really big happening. You know, the government shut down. They're supposed to figure something out today about it. But knowing Nancy, she's going to still be a bitch. And she's still going to hold everybody's paychecks that works for the government hostage. She's not going to compromise or work out a deal with Trump. She's going to throw a little baby fit like she's been doing. So we'll see, but I don't expect you guys to expect them, or don't expect to get your hopes up. Probably nothing major is going to happen, so we'll see. There are a couple things I want to mention before I get to your B movie review. The first one is I did see the new BumbleBee just here recently. If you're expecting it to have anything to do with actual Transformers, then you will be disappointed. It is not a Transformers movie. Except for maybe by name alone. It's like they completely rewrote the entire Transformer movie franchise with this. It has nothing to do with the original, the first movies, and it has nothing to do with the storyline from the 1980s. You know, in the 1980s, a spaceship crashed at like a stone quarry or something, or in a mountainside, from what I can remember. And there was a boy and his father, and the father worked at the construction place and stumbled upon the Autobots in their spaceship with his son. And then the son, I can't remember if his name is Charlie. The girl's name in the movie is Charlie. I can't remember what his name was, but he becomes best friends with Bumblebee, and the father becomes best friends with Optimus Prime. And the boy teaches Bumblebee everything he needs to know. The acting in it wasn't all that great. The lead female character wasn't really that good of an actress, so the acting wasn't very good. The action, there was hardly any action. There was a couple fight scenes in the entire movie. The rest of it was literally over dramatized, and it was all about this girl and her daddy issues, because her dad died when she was young and she couldn't cope with it. Other than that, you know, I mean, it was an okay watch, but at the same time, I was really disappointed, and I'm sure most fans of Transformers will be disappointed with this movie because it wasn't really up to par. My biggest issue, besides that, you know, they completely rewrote a completely different story. It's a completely different Transformers universe. What absolutely made no sense about the movie, though, the one thing that really irritated me, was at the very beginning it shows them on Cybertron, and you know, everybody's pretty much already got their vehicles. Like, you know, they're showing planes, jet planes, Starscream and them. They did, you know, on Cybertron. They're showing Soundwave, and he's got his, you know, he's already a boombox. He's got a cassette player, you know, a Ratchet or whatever is. I can't remember what who he popped out. You know, one of the cassette or one of the cassettes pops out, you know, and transforms into a dog or whatever. They have already got their Transformer designs. And I'm like, what the heck? That makes no sense whatsoever. Because in the original story or the cartoon, you know, when they crash land, the onboard ship, okay, was scanning our satellites and figured out what kind of automobiles and vehicles or whatever was on our planet. And it gave each Transformer their design, their automobile design. Every Autobot got its design from the computer. It gave it to them. That's how Bumblebee became Bumblebee, and Optimus Prime, you know, or how Bumblebee became a beetle, a bug, and Optimus Prime became, you know, a diesel or whatever, you know, because the computer gave it to him. Yet, same thing with the Decepticons when they crash landed on the planet, following the Autobots. You know, its computer gave them, you know, designs and, you know, whatever. You know, that's how Soundwave became a you know, a beatbox, and Megatron became a gun, and you know, Starscream became a plane, and you know, Hijack became a helicopter. You know, all that stuff. You know, the computers from the spaceships did that. You know, and they have completely different designs when they were on Cybertron. So that made no sense to me. It kind of irritates me. It's like, yeah, they already got Earth-like vehicles on Cybertron before they even come to Earth. That makes no sense. But anyways, the movie was, I guess, okay. It reminded me kind of like a Hallmark movie. Real cheesy acting. Not a very good storyline. The best thing about the movie was John Cena, to be honest. So don't expect a major Transformers movie, because that it was not. The other thing I wanted to mention was, thank God they're going to go ahead and do a reboot, or a sequel actually, to Ghostbusters. They're going to go ahead and do it the sequel to the first two movies and make a Ghostbusters 3. They're totally wiping out that horrible feminist PC junk movie they did in 2016. And I think it's hilarious that the director and all the female stars of that movie are throwing a hissy fit about it. But I'm glad, and so is everybody else. It was a horrible movie. It was bad. It was absolutely the worst of the worst. It was not funny at all. It was just terrible. So I'm really excited to see what they do with the sequel. It's supposed to be kind of like a passing of the torch. You know, they're giving a new generation, like the kids are going to be the new Ghostbusters. So we'll see. I hope it turns out really well. I'm excited to see it. Okay, on to your B movie review. Let's get started with that. We'll talk about a movie, again, that a lot of people don't know about, even though it has an A-list actor in it, a superstar. But back then, they weren't a superstar. They were just getting started. And I told you I would do a couple more of his movies. This is another Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. So good old Arnie. We're going to do another one of his. I got one more after this that I'm going to do later on. But this one, it didn't do so well. The budget for it was like $30 million. However, the movie only grossed $34 million worldwide. So it really didn't do all that great. I just don't think many people were as impressed with it. It wasn't Arnold's one of his better movies at all. It was okay, but it was kind of cheesy, and that's why it's a B movie. Some people may have heard of it, but a lot of people have not. It's a movie in the mid-'80s, like around 1985. It was called Red Heat. Now, they've tried the whole, you know, a straight guy and the comedian, you know, the action star and the comedian duo before. You know, 48 Hours, Rush Hour, you know, Tango and Cash, Lethal Weapon series. You know, they've had successes at it before, so they thought they were going to try it again. This time they were going to team up Arnold with James or Jim Belushi, which is the brother of John Belushi from the 70s. Anyway, they thought they were going to team this duo up and make a lot of money off of it, but it didn't turn out that way, and the movie really didn't do all that great. Like I said, it only made a few extra million. They made their money back, but they really didn't make a big profit. You know, 30 to 34 million, that's not really that much. So the movie starts off, you know, with the very first part of the movie is them over in Russia. It starts off with Arnold's character named Ivan. They're after this Russian bad guy. He's like some part of this Russian gang or something, and they're trying to track him down at the beginning of the movie. This movie has two well-known scenes in it. As far as if anyone knows the movie, there are two major scenes in the entire movie that everyone's really knows about, that knows anything about the movie. And the very first one is at the very beginning of the movie. Arnold goes to interrogate these guys looking for this Russian bad guy. And he goes into a Russian bathhouse. And most noticeably is one of the Russian guys that are one of the guys he ends up getting in a fight with. You see him a lot in a lot of Arnold movies, but you also see him in other movies. He's a big stunt guy. He's quite well known in the Hollywood circuit, and he's done a bunch of like action movies. I think he's even done a couple of movies himself. I can't remember the guy's name, but he's been in like Gladiator, and I think the one he did in himself is like Abraxas or something like that. You see him in Running Man. You know, he's like the security guard in Running Man. In Gladiator, he was the returning champion or whatever that he had to fight in Gladiator. yeah, Russell Crowe had to fight in Gladiator, but in this movie, he's one of the guys that Arnold has to fight in the bathhouse. There's a couple of them, and they're all real big guys. And they end up outside in the snow, and it's a big fight scene out in the snow. That's most memorable. That's one of the main scenes that everybody remembers from this movie. They get a big fight scene out there, and then they go to this place. He goes to this tavern or whatever where the bad guy's Russian bad guy's supposed to be, and I guess it's his partner that's with him. They go in there to get him, and there's a big fight scene, and a cop shootout. The bad guy and this other guy, they split up. Arnold chases not the main guy, but the other guy, and he catches him. His partner, on the other hand, goes after the main guy, and the main guy shoots the main bad guy. He shoots Arnold's partner or buddy or whatever and gets away. Arnold hears that he goes to America and he wants to chase him down, but he's not allowed. Now this whole, and this goes on for like 30 minutes, so the very first, almost whole 30 minutes of the movie is at the very beginning. It's all in Russia. So you're having to watch a lot of subtitles. I'm not a big fan of watching subtitles, but I really hate it when a movie does a scene without doing subtitles, if they're speaking in a different language. And I've seen that before, and it irritates me when I know that, you know, there should probably be subtitles on there, but it doesn't have it. But like I said, I've watched a whole movie with subtitles before. I'm just not a big fan of it. But if you're going to do a minute or two of them speaking in a different language, at least give us subtitles so we know what they're talking about. But about the first 30 minutes, it's all over there in Russia, and you gotta watch a lot of subtitles, which can be kind of annoying because you might miss something trying to read the words down below instead of actually watching what's going on. Anyways, over in America, you know, they capture the bad guy because he's gone to America now, and they capture him on a speeding ticket or something. So the Kremlin or whatever, you know, they get the cops in Moscow, they get word about it, and they're going to extradite him. So Ivan, or Arnold's character, decides he wants to go get him personally. So they send him over to go get him in America. Now the bad guy in America, the Russian bad guy, when he's in America, he meets these black guys, and he tries to set up a deal with them. Two other Russian guys came with him, so there's three of them actually at first. And he sets up with this like Black Power group, some type of deal with the Black Power, like black activists, or, you know, like the Black Panthers.